Hey guys, as I promised, we're back really soon with the continuation of the can of worms that we opened over there. We're trying to bring them back in as soon as possible and seal the can again. So if you haven't seen the previous video, you should go and watch that first before you watch this one. But just to summarize, we opened this can of worm here, so that was here and we cut it off, and there was a mess here behind it. So we started repairing it a little bit, and we've done some of the work already. We rebuilt this wall, we rebuilt the bracket that we have inside, we rebuilt this wall, we even made the part that's gonna go here later, and that's where we stand with it. So in this episode we're gonna continue with this same repair. Hopefully by the end of the video we're gonna be done with it. So if you remember, the whole idea here to build this wall was because we wanted to see, after we weld this channel back and extend it all the way to here, like it needs to come to here, we wanted to find out how far it needs to go and everything. So now that this wall is there, my idea was to weld this back, but now I thought about it and I changed my mind a little bit. I mean, we're gonna weld it back, but before that I think it's a better idea if we build the floor from underneath, so we can actually use the spot welder here, because if we have this channel there, I don't think we're gonna be able to fit the spot welder. So that's why I think we should do the floor first, which has this piece already here, and that's where the original floor ends. So we need to build that piece from underneath that joins this to this, and then we're gonna spot weld them together, this flange and the floor, and then we can put this back, extend it to here, and what's gonna be left is gonna be to weld this in place and this in place. Okay, so I cut this piece of metal, and now I can put it underneath and mark it. So can't mark it all the way, but something like that. And here. Okay. All right, so I made this piece. I painted it and then I cleaned the paint from the edges so I can weld it. And it fits pretty well. So something like that. Of course, here the floor is gonna need to be pushed up later, but I'm gonna weld here and there, and then maybe with the jack from underneath we're gonna push the floor up. Here. I think that's good. So now I can weld the plate to the floor and this stitch here, and we're gonna be done inside with the floor, I mean. Okay, that's what it looks like. We're gonna grind it now. The only problem is here. You see this hole? I didn't realize that the metal was so thin here, and I'm gonna have to repair it separately from underneath when we flip the body to its side, because it's gonna be much easier. I need to cut more metal of this side and weld a piece there, or we're gonna see what we're gonna do, but for now it's good. So I welded this all over around. I'm gonna grind it just a little bit now, just so it's not too ugly, and then we're gonna proceed with the repairs in the back. Okay, I think it looks pretty much okay. You know, it looks like I didn't film that, but I used the spot welder and spot welded these together. So that's the floor underneath and that's the flange of the rear wall. And now we are ready to continue with this tube. Okay, I just tucked it in place because it's really uncomfortable to weld there, but when I flip the car to its side, it's gonna be much easier. So I'm gonna leave it for later. So now let's make this piece for here, which is also not a simple shape. All right, so it's time to make this patch for here. And to make it, I made this pattern that is for the bottom part here. This flange, of course, should be shorter, like that. So that's the bottom. And then I made another one to represent the vertical part, which is something like this, right? And the floor comes on top. Then I took the two, joined them together, added some flanges on the side, and I came up with this, which when you fold the flanges and you put it like this, even this flange here that goes up, inside one, and we get something like this. So now we can cut this out of metal. Okay. Everything else is okay, but this line here, you see, it's not a straight line. Why did I make it a straight line? Anyways, we're gonna have to make it a little bit more curved. Here we are close to the heater, so it might be noisy. I'm sorry. So we want to unbend this. Then we want to bend it like this and like this. So we're gonna have to make a cut here. And then we can bend it out again. Something like this. Something like this. Let's see how this is gonna work now. That's definitely better. Once we tuck it here and there, we're gonna hammer this out to touch the wall. So let's paint it inside. Let's paint here inside. And while it dries, we're gonna maybe make this piece for here. After we are done, like with all the welding, we're gonna go around the car and we're gonna spray internal frame coating inside all these closed areas, like the seals, this tube, and everywhere else. Like normally they have holes here and there, like this one has a hole here, you can see my finger inside. And through these holes we're gonna spray them inside. So for now I'm just spraying primer, which probably most of it is gonna burn as I'm welding, but at least for a peace of mind I'm spraying whatever I can, and then we're gonna come back and spray everything with the internal frame coating. Alright, so now let's make this piece for here, which is this piece. So it's pretty much a square piece, but it has this a little bit of a curved shape here, and it has a flange on this side, and it has a little bit of a flange here at the bottom, like a rolled edge. So I made this, which is gonna come like this, and this is when where we're gonna make this rolled edge. We're gonna bend it 90 degrees, I guess. Then on the shrinker stretcher, we're gonna we're gonna stretch the flange so we can make this curve. Then we're gonna shorten it and we're gonna straighten it a little bit, because this is not 90 degrees. It looks like it is 45 or something like that. Perfect. Oh, we don't even need to weld it. It stays. Okay, so we're gonna clean the paint here. We're gonna paint this at the back, and while it dries, now we can weld the other one down there. Alright guys, you know what I'm gonna do? You know, in the previous episode I said that first I'm gonna weld this piece inside the part of the floor, but I think I should do this first for a better fit here, because this piece on the back needs to be adjusted based on this piece, and I don't want to weld that inside and then to have troubles with this one, because this is important here. I want this to be perfectly done, so we don't need to use even Bondo here. We're gonna try to avoid that. So for this reason I'm gonna weld this first, then I'm gonna do the spot welds here between the wall and this flange. You know how they overlap, so they need to be spot welded together. Once this is done, we're gonna put this piece, maybe we can drill holes here for plug welds, because we're not gonna be able to spot weld it. So with plug welds from inside, we're gonna be able to weld it to this piece, I guess, and of course weld it all over. And then we're gonna go inside, we're gonna adjust this piece to fit with this wall that it's gonna be installed already. We're gonna drill holes for plug welds on this piece, so we can weld that to this flange. And we're also gonna have to drill holes here for plug welds to weld it to this flange. We have to cut this flange now, so we can butt weld it there. But we can paint this now, because it's gonna be hard to do it later. Alright, it's all welded. That's what it looks like on the outside, and that's what it looks like on the inside. The plug welds on the side are done as well, so now what's left is to modify this piece to make it fit there. But first, let's grind it on the outside. Alright, it's all ground, and I even drilled the holes for that flange inside that we're gonna plug weld. Yeah, the welds don't look fantastic. I mean, they're not seamless, but very little body filler is gonna make them look good again. So for inside, I modified this piece similar to what we did outside. I made a cut here and I bent 2 flanges instead of 1. So now it fits like this. And I also have holes here for plug welding. The holes outside match the flange that is there. I'm gonna do that on my own because it's pretty tight here, and I'm gonna bring you back. Actually, I have to paint it first inside, and since it's gonna take time to dry, we're gonna come here and we're gonna drill the holes through these nuts now, because you know, on the outside we need to be able to mount that bracket, so we shouldn't forget to drill these holes. Okay, it fits. We're not gonna mount it for now. Alright, so it's all welded, and I'm not even gonna grind it here. It looks pretty good. I'm gonna grind it on the outside here, because we have those plug welds. So I'm gonna grind them now, and with this repair we're gonna call it done. Of course, this is not finished, but this we're gonna finish together with the entire flange. The plug welds are ground down as well, and with this I would call this repair done. It looks 100% better than what it was before, right? Inside and outside. If you remember, this corner was all rusted, but now it is pretty solid. Of course, there's little things to finish like this here, but we're gonna finish this from outside. We need to weld these holes from rivets that we had before. There are some pinholes on some of my welds, but like I said, this is gonna be much easier to do from underneath when we flip the car to the side. And that's it. I think in the next video we're gonna start dealing with these worms here from this can on this side. So once this is repaired, this entire thing, and this here, because this is part of the same part here. So once this is repaired, we're gonna repair this wheel arch, we're gonna make this flange, and then we're gonna be able to start putting the external parts. And that's gonna be really exciting, I believe. But for that, in the next video. This one, we're gonna end here. But before we end it, I want to make an announcement. Probably most of you are aware of my Facebook page, Rusty Beauties, which I created a few years ago, but that was actually a mistake on my side. I wanted to create a group, and I created a page. I didn't know the difference at that time, and if you don't know it, the difference between a Facebook page and a Facebook group is that the page is something for companies to advertise their goods there, or for musicians to post about their future plans for their tours and stuff like that. And a group is, of course, an open group where everybody can post and everybody can communicate with each other and stuff like that, where on page you can't. So for a few years it was just a stupid page that I was advertising my own YouTube videos on. But now I decided to make it into a group, which actually is not that easy. You can't just change it. You have to create a group and ask people who follow your page to also join the group. So whether you were or you weren't following the page Rusty Beauties, you're more than welcome to join the group now. So if you go to Facebook and look for groups and look for Rusty Beauties in groups, you're gonna find this group. It already has 200 members. I created it just yesterday, and already we have 200 members. So I'm imagining that we're gonna reach pretty good number at some point, and I invite you to join as well. So it's gonna be helpful for everybody. Like, everybody can help each other in this group. It's not gonna be something that is gonna be only me posting stuff. You can post stuff, you can ask questions, you can advertise your stuff that you want to sell or you want to buy, or if you have a business that provides services related to our Rusty Beauties, like upholstery, for example, or even welding or repair shops or whatever. Also, if you ask questions, it's not only me who's gonna answer. There's gonna be many other people who are gonna step in and give their input on the problem that you have. And same way, if you feel that you can help other people by giving them advice, you can just go through the post, see who have problems and help them solve them. So it is a good idea, I believe, for our little community, because I believe that we already have the community called Rusty Beauties. We just don't have the place where to be to meet each other virtually, let's say. And I think this is the best place to do that, on Facebook in a group. If you are on Facebook, search for Rusty Beauties, find the group, not the page, the group, join. For now it's open. Maybe in future we're gonna make it so it is so people will need to be approved before they get in, because I'm assuming that some malicious advertisers are gonna step in to advertise stuff that is not related to our cars, or it's not appropriate at all. So at some point we will see. Maybe we're gonna close it, but again, if you are a part of our community, you're gonna be approved very easy and you're gonna be able to join. So anyways, enough for that. Let's end this video here. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for commenting and subscribing. Thanks for supporting me on Patreon and by sending money through PayPal. That's really highly appreciated. If you are not Patreon yet and you wish to become one, you can check the description. There's going to be a link there to my Patreon page where you can choose to support me by donating $5, $10 or $20. Or if you can't afford that, or if you just don't feel like doing it, you're still more than welcome to stay and watch all the videos and have access to all the content. You're not going to lose any access if you don't participate in the Patreon page. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.